नमस्कारः। अद्य छान्दकौमुद्याः हलन्तपुल्लिङ्गप्रकरणे सप्तः पाठः। आगस्ट् मासस्य 30 दिनाङ्कः। येनाक्षरसमां न्यायम् अधिगम्योहेश्वरात् कृष्णं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तीः परिभाष्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीः विरच्यते। Going back a bit, इदं शब्दस्य विषये किं किम् अधीतम् इति किञ्चित् पश्यामः। प्रकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः, तस्य प्रत्यये परे इदं इत्युक्ते मकारस्य स्थाने मकारादेशः, ततः इदः स्थाने अयादेशः, तेन अयम् इति रूपम्। अन्यत्र जगादीनामः इत्यनेन अत्वं सर्वनामसंज्ञा अस्ति इदं शब्दस्य सर्वादिगणे पाठस्य फलात्। तेन जगादीनामः इत्यनेन अत्वं दश्च इत्यनेन दकारस्य मकारादेशः, तेन इमौ इमे इमम् इमौ इमान् इत्यादीनि रूपाणि भवन्ति। द्वितीया विभक्तेः आरभ्य अजादिषु विभक्तिषु अनाप्यकः इत्यनेन इद् इत्यस्य स्थाने अनु इत्यादेशो भवति। अजादिः विभक्तिः नाम विभक्तिद्वयमेव लभ्यते तृतीयातः। एकं तु ता इत्यत्र आ इत्यस्ति, तस्य इनादेशेऽपि इ इति अजादिरेव, पुनः ओस्। एते द्वे एव विभक्ति यत्र अजादित्वं लभ्यते, तत्र अनादेशे कृते अनेन अनयोः इति रूपम्। अन्यत्र सर्वत्र विभक्तेः मूलतः अजादित्वेऽपि आदेशस्य हलादित्वं भवति। हलादौ विभक्तौ परतः हलिलोपः इत्यनेन इद् इत्यस्य लोपे अकारः दृश्यते, तेन अस्मै आभ्याम् एभ्यः इत्यादीनि रूपाणि भवन्ति। काकत्वस्य इदं शब्दस्य अर्थात् इदम् इत्यस्मात् स्वार्थे अकस्प्रत्यये इदकम् इति ज्ञायते। तस्य प्रथमाद्वितीयविभक्त्योः समानं, यथा अयं तथा अयकम्। इमौ इत्यस्य स्थाने इमकौ केवलं ककारयोगः श्रूयते। अयकम् इमकौ इमके, इमकम् इमकौ इमकान् इति। किन्तु तृतीयातः आरभ्य अनाप्यकः हलिलोपः इति सूत्रयोः प्रवृत्तिः न भवति। उभयत्र अकः इत्यस्य अककारस्य इदं शब्दस्य इति उक्तत्वात् ककारसहितस्य एतत् सूत्रद्वयं न प्रवर्तते। सर्वत्र स्थिरादीनामः इति अर्थं, ततः दश्च इत्यनेन दकारस्य स्थाने मकारः, इदक इत्यस्य स्थाने इमक इति भवति। इमकेन इमकाभ्याम् इमकैः इत्यादि अकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः इमकशब्दः यथा स्यात् तथा रूपाणि भवन्ति इति साधारणस्य इदं शब्दस्य विषयः। अन्वादेशविषये तु अन्वादेशः नाम गीतम् एकं कार्यं साधयितुम् उपात्तस्य कार्यान्तरं साधयितुं पुनः उपादानं। द्वितीयः उपयोगः तस्य सर्वनाम्नः इति। तदा किं भवति इति चेत् केवलस्य इदं शब्दस्य अर्थात् अकद्रहितस्य इदं शब्दस्य द्वितीया टा ओस् द्वितीया विभक्तौ अम् औषत् तथा टा ओस् इति पञ्चसु विभक्तिषु एनादेशः भवति। एन इति आदेशः, इदम् इत्यस्य स्थाने एन इत्यादेशः, तेन एनम् एनौ एनान् एनेन एनयोः इति पञ्चरूपाणि सिद्ध्यन्ति अन्वादेशे। अत एव इदं शब्दस्य रूपलेखनसमये इदम् इमम् एनम् इमौ एनौ इमान् एनान् इति लिखन्ति। तत्र विकल्पः नास्ति. इट् इस् नाट् एन् आप्शनल् फार्म्. द फस्ट् टैम् यूसेज् वी यूस् इमम् and अन्वादेश we use enam. अन्यासु विभक्तिषु तृतीयादिषु हलादिषु विभक्तिषु अन्वादेशे अश् इत्यादेशो भवति। इदमोन्वादेशे शरणार्थस्तृतीयादौ सूत्रेण, किन्तु रूपे भेदः न दृश्यते। अन्वादेशाभावे हलिलोपः इत्यनेन इद् इत्यस्य लोपे अकारः शिष्यते। अन्वादेशे कृते अश् इत्यादेशेऽपि अकारः भवति इत्यतः रूपे व्यत्ययः न दृश्यते तृतीयादिषु हलादिषु विभक्तिषु। अत एव अनेन येनेन आभ्याम् एभिः इत्येकमेव रूपम् अस्ति, किन्तु तत्रापि अन्वादेशविषये अपि तदेव रूपं भवति इति मन्तव्यम्। अकस्सहितस्य इदं शब्दस्य तु अन्वादेशे द्वितीया ता ओस् अम् औषस् ता ओस् इति पञ्चसु विभक्तिषु पुनः एनादेशे एव भवति। तेन इमकम् एनम् इमकौ एनौ इमकान् एनान् इमकेन एनेन इमकयोः एनयोः इति पञ्चरूपाणि। द्वितीयादिषु हलादिषु तु अत्र भेदः अस्ति। प्रथमोपयोगे अर्थात् अन्वादेशाभावे यथा इदानीम् उक्तं हलिलोपः इत्यस्य प्रवृत्तिः नास्ति अकस्सहितस्य, केवलं तदाद्यत्वं दश्च इति दस्यमः, तेन इमकाभ्याम् इमकैः इति रूपम्। अन्वादेशे तु इदकम् इत्यस्य स्थाने अश् इत्यादेशो भवति। अश् इत्यनेन अकारः आदेशो भवति, तेन आभ्याम् एभिः अस्मै इत्यादि इदं शब्दवद् रूपाणि भवन्ति। So that is in essence the thing about idam shabda. Idakam, the akat form, is rarely used. So when we are using it, maybe we do not have to worry about it. Kintu kadachit prayoge dashyate te katham iti jnatavya. ततः नकारान्ताः पुल्लिङ्गाः तत्र राजन् शब्दः सुप्रत्यये परे उपधादीर्घः सर्वनामस्थाने जातं बुद्धौ इत्यनेन उपधादीर्घः हल्नियादिना सुलोपः नलोपः प्रातिपदिकान्तस्य राजन् सुप्रत्यये उपधादीर्घे राजान् सुप्रत्ययस्य लोपे राजान् नलोपे राजा इति प्रथमैकवचने रूपम्। सम्बुद्धौ तु उपधादीर्घः न भवति, सर्वनामस्थाने च असम्बुद्धौ इति उक्तत्वात् सुलोपः नास्ति, क्षम्यताम् उपधादीर्घः नास्ति, हनियादिना सुलोपो भवति। हे राजन् इत्यस्ति नहि सम्बुद्ध्योः इति निषेधात् न लोपो न भवति। ङौ सम्बुद्धौ च परे नस्य लोपो न भवति इति उक्तत्वात् नकारस्य लोपः नास्ति। हे राजन् न नि सम्बुद्ध्योः इति उक्तम्। सम्बुद्धेः उदाहरणं हे राजन्। ङौ परे ङौ परतः नलोपनिषेधस्य उदाहरणं भवति वेदे परमे व्योमन्। व्योमन् इत्यस्मात् नि प्रत्यये कृते तस्य सुपांसुलुक् इत्यादिना लोपे इदानीं प्रातिपदिकसंयुक्तं यत् पदम् इत्यादिना पदसंज्ञा विद्यते नस्य लोपः स्यात्। ङौ परतः प्रत्ययलक्षणेन नि प्रत्ययमानीय ङौ परतः नलोपो नास्ति इति उक्तत्वात् नकारस्य लोपो न भवति, परमे व्योमन् इति रूपं साधितम्। इदानीं तत्रैव एकं वार्तिकं विद्यते। ङौ उत्तरपदे प्रतिषेधो अस्ति। कोऽर्थः? ङौ विषये उत्तरे पदे परे नहि सम्बुद्ध्योः इत्यस्य निषेधः वाक्यः इत्यर्थः। नलोपः प्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इति नलोपः विधीयते, नहि सम्बुद्ध्योः इति नलोपस्य निषेधः। ङावुत्तरपदे प्रतिषेधः इति निषेधस्य प्रतिषेधः, अर्थात् नलोपः भवति इत्यर्थः। तदा ङौ उत्तरपदे उदाहरणं पश्यामः। कर्मणि तिला इत्यतः कर्मतिलः इत्यस्ति। कर्मन् नि तिल सु सप्तमी तत्पुरुषसमासः। कर्मन् इति नकारान्तं प्रातिपदिकं, तस्य सप्तमी अस्ति कर्मणि तिला इत्यतः। तिल सु तिला इति भवति, तदनन्तरं ह्रस्वः भवति। I have not shown that step. किन्तु कर्मणि तिल सु इत्यस्ति। सुपोधातुप्रातिपदिकयोः इत्यनेन प्रत्ययस्य लोपे कर्मन् तिल इत्यस्ति। इदानीं प्रत्ययलक्षणेन नि इति आनीते न नि सम्बुद्ध्योः। एक्चुअली हियर इट इज प्रातिपदिकसंयुक्तं यत् पदं समासः प्रत्ययलक्षणेन पदत्वम् अस्ति। सो अत्र नकारस्य लोपः स्यात्। किन्तु न ङि-सम्बुद्ध्योः ङि प्रत्ययः अस्ति अतः ङि-सम्बुद्ध्योः इति निषेधे सति नस्य लोपः न स्यात् इति प्रत्ययलक्षणेन ङि-प्रत्ययमाश्रित्य ङि-सम्बुद्ध्योः इति लोपस्य निषेधे प्राप्ते ङि-सम्बुद्ध्योः नलोपस्य निषेधे सति किं स्यात् कर्मन्तिल इति स्यात् कर्मतिल इति न भवति तदा उच्यते ङौ उत्तरपदे प्रत्यये परे उत्तरपदे सति when it is part of a samasa and that is ङि प्रत्यय तदा ङि-सम्बुद्ध्योः इत्यस्य इति निषेधस्य प्रतिषेधः which means ङि-सम्बुद्ध्योः will not apply in case of samasa. If in a samasa you have saptami vibhakti and there is an uttarapada, in such a case, this ङि-सम्बुद्ध्योः will not apply. Therefore, नकारस्य लोपः भवति. नलोपः प्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इत्यनेन नकारस्य लोपे कृते कर्मतिल इति रूपं भवति. एवमेव ब्रह्मणि निष्ठः ब्रह्मन् निष्ठ समानं ब्रह्मनिष्ठः इति ब्रह्मन् इति नकारस्य लोपः भवति. In the samasa, even if it is saptami, because even if you have ङि, there will be lopa, nakarasya lopa. Ataha naka ङि-सम्बुद्ध्योः इत्यत्र ङि-ग्रहणस्य उदाहरणं भवति छन्दस्येव. It is only in the Vedas that we will find an example for ङि-ग्रहणं. So now, coming back to Rajan. Rajan au अस्ति सर्वनामस्थाने च सम्बुद्धौ. सर्वनामस्थाने सर्वत्र उपधानितः भवति. राजानौ राजा राजानौ राजानः. हे राजन् इति दृष्टं. हे राजन् हे राजानौ हे राजानः. पुनः राजानौ राजानौ. सर्वनामस्थाने सर्वत्र उपधादीर्घः भवति. अतः राजन् इत्यस्मात् शस् प्रत्ययः. अत्र उपधादीर्घः नास्ति. लिखितम् इत्यनेन sorry everything I forgot to.
No, I'm trying to keep. And when you have a chance, Vasuji had a question, but I'll wait for you to come to place where you can ask.
No, it's okay. You can have it. If it's a question regarding what we did now.
I think so. Vasuji, go ahead. Hello.
I had a general question on Anvadesha. The Anvadesha, the reference to the Sarvanama has the person or the object referred to has to be in the same sentence or in the same context?
In the same context. It need not be the same sentence. I mean, it has to be two different sentences. I mean, even though in the example he is shown with a comma, it is effectively two different sentences where you are taking up you are referring to the person once and then you are referring to it again for two different things. Okay.
For two different reasons.
The context is the same, two different things. And then, as I said, it has to be like he says, Anena vyakaranam adhitam, enam chandaha adhyapaya. So study vyakarana, chandas. There are two different things that are happening. Karyantaram sadhayitum punaha upadanam.
The next question I had is the Brahmanishta kind of thing in the Saptami sense that samasa is, what kind of samasa is that?
It is a Saptami Tatpurusha.
Okay,
Saptami Shamdaiti.
Oh, something. It is like the Tatropapadam Saptamistam kind of thing.
Sorry, I did not hear it.
Tatropapadam Saptamistam kind of thing.
No. Upapada is something different. Tatropapadam Saptamistam is it's a completely different thing. That would be like a kumbham karoti iti kumbhakaraha. That is an upapada samasa. That is a completely different context. The sutra here would be Saptami Shaundanti.
Saptami.
Acharya Nipunaha, Acharya Nipunaha.
Oh, thanks.
राजन् द्वितीयविभक्तौ बहुवचने तस्प्रत्यये कृते इति भम् इत्यनेन भसंज्ञा भवति। आदिषु यकारादिषु अजादिषु स्वादिषु उपप्रत्ययावधिः पूर्वं भसंज्ञं स्यात्। अजादिप्रत्ययस्य अजादिप्रत्यये परे प्रकृतिभागस्य भ इति संज्ञा अस्ति। भसंज्ञायां सत्याम् अलोपो नः अकारस्य लोपः अन् इत्यस्य अकारस्य लोपः भवति भसंज्ञायां सत्यां भस्तेत्यधिकारे इदं तेन किं भवति राज ल अस् तस्य नकारस्य त्वश्चनाश्चुः इत्यनेन सुत्वं भवति। अकारतवर्गयोः शकारतवर्गाभ्यां योगे we have a nakara dakarasya yoge नकारस्य स्थाने च वर्गपञ्चमाक्षरः ञकारः आदेशो भवति। राज नि तदेव उच्यते दीक्षितैः अल्लोपो नः ष्टुत्वं तदेव कृतं। तत्र कश्चन सन्देहः अल्लोपस्य स्थानिवद्भावः भवति वा? कथं स्थानिवद्भावः? स्थानिवदादेशः अनल्विधौ इति उच्यते। आदेशः स्थानिवत्या न तु स्थान्यलाश्रयविधौ। तत्र सः स्थानी अकारः स्थानी अकारः अस्ति आदेशः लोपः अकारस्य लोप एव आदेशः स्थानिवद् भवति अकारवद् भवति नाम we have to treat it as a sakara is there but the sakara lopa is an alvidhi स्थानिवदादेशः अनल्विधौ इति उच्यते। अतः स्थानिवदादेशः इति सूत्रेण स्थानिवद्भावः न भवति। अतः सूत्रमस्ति अतः परस्मिन् पूर्वविधौ परनिमित्तः अजादेशः तत्र षट्प्रत्ययनिमित्तः अजादेशः अकारस्य लोपरूपः आदेशः स्थानिवद् भवति इति अतः परस्मिन् पूर्वविधौ इति सूत्रेण अगेन if few people remember अतः परस्मिन् पूर्वविधौ there is a question somewhere we the purvavidhi is it what is purvavidhi? Purvasya vidhi is then sthanibhutadatah purvatvena drishtasya vidhau kartavya. When you are doing something, some karya for that which is before the sthani, which means if the jakara has some karya, the akara would be sthanivat. But here we are not doing any karya for jakara, we are doing a karya for nakara. Can we still use other person purvavidhau? Yes, because purvavidhau is interpreted as two ways. One is purvasya vidhihi, purvavidhihi, purvasmat vidhihi, purvasmat parasya vidhihi. When we are doing a karya for something which is para to the purva, purvasmat parasya vidhihi. We had this somewhere and somebody had asked for an example of that. So if you can remember other person and go back to it, now this will be clear. It need not be always purvasya vidhihi. It can also be purvasmat parasya vidhihi. अर्थात दकारात् परस्य नकारस्य विधौ कर्तव्येपि अतः परस्मिन् पूर्वविधौ इत्यनेन स्थानिवद्भावः भवितुम् अर्हति। अत्र स्थानिवद्भावे कृते if we use अतः परस्मिन् पूर्वविधौ and do स्थानिवद्भावः, there is an akara here. If we assume that there is an akara, we will not be able to do shtutva. So shtutva इत्यनेन shtutvam न भवेत्। अतः एव उच्यते न च अल्लोपः स्थानिवत्। अल्लोपः स्थानिवत् न भवति। किमर्थं? पूर्वत्रासिद्धे तन्निषेधः। पूर्वत्रासिद्धे न स्थानिवत् इति परिभाषा विद्यते। In case of siddhakanda, in case of kripadi, we cannot use स्थानिवद्भावः इति परिभाषा विद्यते। अतः तत्र स्थानिवद्भावः न भवति। अल्लोपस्य स्थानिवद्भावः नास्ति। That is one आक्षेपः regarding. There is one more. नापि बहिरंगतया असिद्धः यथोद्देशपक्षे षष्ठीं परिभाषां प्रति Chutvasya asiddhataya. I think it is asiddhataya. Antaranga bhave paribhashaya. So this Bhasakshepa was Akara is brought by Sthanivat Bhava, and therefore we cannot do Stritva. It was overruled saying in case of Purvatra Siddha there is no Sthanivat. The second Akshepa is there is an Antaranga Bahiranga Bhava. Allopa is Antaranga and Stritva is Bahiranga. If that is the case, Alloponaha is Bahiranga and Stritva is Antaranga. Antarange Karya Kartavya Bahiranga Masiddham. When you are trying to do an Antaranga Karya, you have to treat a Bahiranga Karya as Asiddha. If Alloponaha is Bahiranga and Stritva is Antaranga, then Stritva will not be able to see Alloponaha. That is, Alloponaha would be Asiddha for Stritva, which means according to Stritva there is an Akara here, and therefore Stritva would not operate. But how is Alloponaha Bahiranga and Stritva Antaranga? That's the question. Asiddham, next slide. Asiddham Bahirangam Antarange iti paribhasha drishtasana. Tadeva. Now, Alloponaha iti Allopaha Shaspratyam nimittikatya pravrittaha. The nimitta for Alloponaha is Shas. It's actually Bhasamya. Bhasamya depends on an Ajati Pratyaya. This is Shas Pratyaya. Okay. Stritva, on the other hand, depends on what? It depends on Jakara and Nakara, right, which lie interior to the Pratyaya. It does not, whatever the Pratyaya, it does not care what is the Pratyaya. It depends only on there being Jakara and Nakara together. So, Allopa is depending on something external, which is a Pratyaya, whereas Stritva is not depending on it. Therefore, Allopa is Bahiranga, Stritvam to Antarangam. So, Anaya Paribhashaya, Siddham Bahirangam Antarange iti Paribhashaya, Antarange Stritve Shastravye, Bahirangaha Allopaha Asiddhaha. Allopa would be Asiddha to Stritva, which means Stritva does not know that Akara Lopa has occurred. If Akara Lopa has occurred, there is still a no. Conditions for Stritva are not satisfied, which means Stritvam Nasyat. So, Siddham Bahirangam Antarange iti Paribhashaya, Stritvam Nasyat iti Akshepha. Tadakimuchyate. Yathodesham Samya Paribhasham. This is another Paribhasha. What is it? I mean, this is an interesting paribhasha, and how, I mean, there are two views on how Samya and paribhashas operate. Kivartham Samyanam paribhashanam va upadanam. Vidhisutra upakarat. All Samyas and paribhashas, they do not have an independent function. Okay? They exist to help the Vidhisutra to operate. Right? Any Samya or any Paribhasha, its ultimate purpose is to help a Vidhisutra to operate. Now, the question is, when we come to the operation of Samya and Paribhasha, there are two options. Okay. One view says the Samya and Paribhasha stays where it is. A Vidhisutra, whenever it requires the help of a Samya or Paribhasha, it will come to where the Samya Paribhasha is. I mean, when I am saying it will come, it is not that the Sutra will take that time. It is in our mind. Okay? Since there is a Samya Sutra, Buddhiradai, in the Prasmadhyaya Pratham Sutra. Buddhirethi iti Sutram tu Prasmadhyaya Prathamapadaya. Buddhirethi, this is the Buddhi Sandhi, means the definition of Vriddhi. Okay, for it to operate, it needs to know what Vriddhi is. So what will happen? That Sutra Vriddhirethi will approach Buddhiradai, which is in Prathmadhyaya Prathamapada, and take the definition of Vriddhi, and then it will operate. Okay, so that is called Yathodesham Samya Paribhasham, which means Yasmin Deshe Samyanam Paribhashanam Upadesha Tatraiva Vidhisutranam Sannidhanam. All Vidhisutras will approach that particular Samya or Paribhasha in its place, wherever it has been told in the Apratyayi, and take its definition or a rule for interpretation. That is this view. Okay? There is an exactly opposite paribhasha which is Karyakalam Samya Paribhasha, which means the Samya Sutras and Paribhasha Sutras will move to where the Vidhi Sutra is. Which means Vichirade Sutram, Samya Sutram, if Yatra Vidhireti iti Upadishtam Shasthadhyaye Tatra Gacchati. That is, this sutra will go there, it will join with the Vritti Samya Sutra, and then you get the Sutrasha of Vidhireti. Is what it says. So both paribhashas are used. It is not like, some people use this and some people use that. Both, all Vyakaranas will use both in different contexts. Based on what we want. These two are very opportunistic paribhashas. Based on what is the end result we want, we decide whether it is Yathodesha Paksha which is applying here or Karyakala. Okay? And it seems a very weird thing to do for an exact Shastra like Vyakarana. But there are some cases when it happens. To justify the Prayoga, the ultimate aim of Vyakarana is to Prayoga Sharanatha. Prayogasya Sadhatvam Sadhayitum Kadachita Yathodesha Pakshaha Shriyate Kadachita Karyakala Pakshaha. Kutra Yathodesha Pakshaha Shriyamiyaha Kutra Karyakala Pakshaha iti Mahabhashya Sthitam. So now I have got the basic idea. Okay, in one case, in Yathodesha Paksha, the Samya Sutra, the Paribhasha Sutra stays where it is, and the Vidhi Sutra will approach the Samya Paribhasha and take its definition or rule. Whereas in the opposite case, it would be the opposite. Let's not consider that now because it would be confusing. So, Yathodesham Samya Paribhasha. Yashun Deshe Samyanam Paribhashanam Ta Upadeshaha Tatraiva Vidhi Sutranam Sannidhanam. Which means now, I will tell you what is the implication of this means. Whenever a sutra, Vidhirade will stay in its place, and all sutras which have that Pada Vidhi will approach Vidhirade and take its definition. When this is happening, when there is all sutras are approaching, Vidhirades will be able to view only those sutras which are in Sapara Saptadhyayi. Since Tripadi is Asiddha to Sapara Saptadhyayi, this Samya would not apply to any sutra which is there in Tripadi. Which means in effectively in Yathodesha Paksha, any Samya or any Paribhasha would not apply to Tripadi. Okay. In the opposite case, in Karyakala Paribhasha, the Samya and Paribhasha would be operated even in the Tripadi. That is the final intent of Yathodesha Paksha and Karyakala Paksha. Now, since we are in Yathodesha Paksha, if there is a Paribhasha or a Samya in Sapara Saptadhyayi, it would not apply to any sutra which is there in Tripadi. Idanim Asmakam Paribhasha asti Asiddham Bahirangam Antarange. There is a problem because it is not a sutra. Asiddham Bahirangam Antarange it is sutram nasti. So how do we fix its position in the Ashtadhyayi? If it is a sutra, we can say its position is Prathamadhyaya Prathama Pade asti. Kintu Asiddham Bahirangam Antarange iti Paribhasha Sutram nasti. Sutram nasti chet katham tasya sthana nirnayaha iti cheta. For every Paribhasha, there is one sutra which will serve as a reference point or as a proof that the Paribhasha exists. A Paribhasha cannot be made independently of the sutra. Any Paribhasha has its basis in some sutra of Panini. Okay. So we take that particular sutra as reference. Idanim Asiddham Bahirangam Antarange iti Paribhasha Shasthadhyayasya Vaha-ut iti sutre pathita. If you look at Mahabhashya, Bhashyakara has taken Vaha-ut as the reference or as the proof for this Paribhasha, which we have already seen. If you go back to the lesson on Vishwava, just a few days before in Halanta, Prakaranam Pumlingeshu Vaha-ut iti sutre asmabhihi tatra prita. Katham asiddham bahirangam antarange ityasya tatra pravrittihi iti. Ataha Asiddham Bahirangam Antarange iti Shashti Paribhasha iti uchyate. Its position is fixed as the same as of that of Vaha-ut, which is in the 6th chapter. So, Asiddham Bahirangam Antarange iti Shashtadhyaye asti Paribhasha. Doshchunashchuhu iti sutram asti Ashtamadhyaye. So, Next slide, please. Now, asiddham bahirangam antarange does not, when both alloponaha and toshtunashtuha approach asiddham bahirangam antarange, asiddham bahirangam antarange will not use toshtunashtuhu. Antarange tvena chikeshitasya sutrasya arthat toshtunashtuhu ityasya asiddhatve. When there are two sutras approaching asiddham bahirangam antaranga, it will decide which is bahiranga, which is antaranga, and it will say antaranga will not see bahiranga. Okay? But when the paribhasha itself is not able to view two sutras, according to the paribhasha, there is only one sutra, which is alloponaha. So it cannot decide which is antaranga and which is bahiranga. Toshtunashtuhu iti sutrasya asiddhatve antaranga bahiranga nirnayaha eva na syat. Using this paribhasha, we cannot decide which is antaranga and which is bahiranga. Therefore, where are we? Where did we start? We go back to the slide and see Dikshita's pankti. It says, Napi bahirangataya asiddhaha. It bahirangataya toshtuna alopaha shtipvam prati na asiddhaha. Kimartham? Yathodesha pakshe. Yathodesham samya paribhasham iti pakshe. Shashthim paribhasham prati. Sa shashthi paribhasha asiddham bahirangam antarange iti paribhasham prati. Shtutvasya asiddhataya. Shtutva is asiddha to that paribhasha. Therefore, antaranga bhave. According to that paribhasha, the antaranga sutra itself does not exist. Paribhashayaha apravrittehe. Therefore, that paribhasha will not apply here. Therefore, allopa is not bahiranga, which means shtutva can apply. That is where we end up. Is that clear?
I think the whole subject matter is pretty heavy, so you will digest.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I think you tried your best. Now you have to understand it.
Go through this again, and if you want, I'll explain this again in next class. Or if somebody wants, we can try a different way of explaining it. But since the whole concept is new, the Yathodesha and Karyakala, it takes time to sink in. But instead, I try to explain. Even if you do not understand this at this point, there is no matter. You can just know the structure. It is important to know that there is alloponaha and there is shtutva. Anyway, nobody would actually get this doubt of antaranga bahiranga here by themselves. So this is what we call in the Shastra. There are cases where there would be a sandeha by itself. There are some obvious sandehas which would arise. And there are many cases where the Shastrakara himself gives rise to doubt, which might not normally arise for a student at that stage, because the student does not know enough. So we call this as Utthapya Samadhanam. We try to raise a doubt in the, not we, even I would not know this. The Shastrakara tries to raise a doubt in the learners and tries to give it Samadhana, which for the learner at that point, it might be difficult to appreciate the doubt itself. Appreciating the question is essential for knowing the answer. So as long as we do not understand the question, we'll obviously not understand the answer. And this is the case in many times in Shastra. Even I, at this point of studying Kaumudi, I'm positive I did not know anything about this. So only after I actually studied the Paribhasha in the Shekhara, would these things make sense. So for now, you can either, you have the facility of listening to the recording again, you can try to listen to it again and make it clear, or you can leave it as Shravana Samskara. Someday, this thing will come back and things will be clear. Okay. Okay, if you still have questions, if you want me to explain any point, I would be glad to do so. Or if you feel we can
Soumyaji.
move on to
Yeah. I have a suggestion here. Your excellent way of presenting sometimes extra visual aid. The extra visual aid, the usual visual aid you use is excellent. We need some extra visual aid to, aksharas pop up and
Yeah,
they
exactly.
notate them as this is inside the anga and paranga, that's outside the abhaya and that kind of thing. Maybe like a kindergarten approach. And also, as you said, question itself is not very clear sometimes in the sense, not because, you know.
I understand that. I mean, it's happened to me many times in the Shastra. I mean, it will happen. But at any point, I mean, if I'm studying the Mahabharata now, there will be many things where I cannot appreciate the question. And that is why I cannot even move to understand the answer. But yeah, that is why it is just the teacher, and the teacher says sometime later. I mean, there's actually a joke which goes around this, that there's a Shastra teacher which says, everything, Pashtam Agre Bhavishyati. So, a teacher who can gloss over anything saying, okay, it will be clear in the future. That should not be the case always. But there are some points where there is a limitation where it is, however much the teacher tries or however much the student tries, it might not be possible.
Padam Kalakrame, unfortunately, 3/4 are waiting for the time for us.
I hope everybody knows that. Acharyat padam adhatte, padam shishyaha swamedhaya, padam sabrahmacharihi, padam kalakramenacha. It says Acharyat padam adhatte. Of any body of knowledge that exists, the student can get only 1/4 of it from the teacher. Okay? However good both the student is or the teacher is, only 1/4 of the knowledge, or 25% is transferred from the teacher to the student. Padam shishyaha swamedhaya, the own intelligence of the student, and of course his hard work is essential for grasping 25% more. Padam sabrahmacharihi, and 1/4 is gained from fellow students. Even if there's one student sitting and studying, never useful to discuss with your students because they are at the same level. The teacher might be at a different level and he or she might not be able to understand what your position is. But the other students are in your position approximately and they will know, they might have similar doubts, they might have answers for some of them. Padam sabrahmacharihi. Even with all this, it is impossible to understand 100% at that time. Padam kalakramena. The rest of it requires time to thinking for you to know some other things before you understand this thing. No, just skip all that and move.
Unfortunately, all the 3/4 are waiting for the time to heal. For some of us.
Okay, so to move on, Kimaput, Kimapi Nasti, Rajan, Shastrasya, Akarasya Lopaha, Loponaka, Jakara Makaraya Senyoria, Nakarasya Sthane, Yanaha, Stutvena. Once we are there, it means Janyor Dnyaha, Rajyaha. We have Rajya, a sanyoga of Jakara and Nyakara itself is Dnya. Dnya is a special sanyoga, it's not an independent letter. Jakara and Nyakara sanyoga eva Nyakaraha. Tasya lekhanepi vishishyamasti, uccaranepi vishishyamasti. Ataha you have Rajyas. Tasashodaku iti rutve Rajyar. Kratanayor visarjaniyaha Rajyaha. Rajanam Rajanam Rajyaha. Rajan पुनः घतम्य अल्लोपनः इति अल्लोपः ओष्ठुनष्टुः इत्यनेन ष्टुत्वं राज्ञां शस्त्रप्रत्ययानारभ्य सर्वत्र अजादिषु प्रत्ययेषु अल्लोपः ष्टुत्वं राज्ञः राज्ञे इत्यत्र राज्ञोः राज्ञां सर्वत्र फलादिषु प्रत्ययेषु किं भवति राजन्भ्याम् अत्र स्वादिषु असर्वनामस्थाने इत्यनेन पदसंज्ञा भवति अजादिषु प्रत्ययेषु भसंज्ञा फलादिषु प्रत्ययेषु परसंज्ञा परसंज्ञायां सत्यां नलोपः प्रातिपदिकान्तस्य प्रातिपदिकसंज्ञकं यत् पदं तदन्तस्य नकारस्य लोपः स्यात् इत्यनेन नकारस्य लोपे राजभ्याम् राजभ्यां राजभ्याम् इत्येव रूपम्। तत्र कश्चन सन्देहः, नकारः युक्तः, इदानीम् अकारः अस्ति, सुपि च इति दीर्घः भवति वा इति प्रश्नः। सुपि च अकाङ्गस्य दीर्घः स्यात् ययादौ सुपि, लैक् यु हेव् रामभ्यां बिकमिङ्ग् रामाभ्यां, राजभ्याम् इत्यत्रापि सुपि च इति दीर्घः भवति वा चेत् न भवति इति उत्तरं। किमर्थं न भवति? किमर्थमत्र सुपि च इति दीर्घः न भवेत्?
Because of the following sutra is going to negate it.
When I would not ask the question. No, you already know the answer. It is on the slide. The following sutra needs, we need it for a different reason, but the original reason is obvious. It should be obvious by now. The answer is on the slide. किमर्थं सुपि च इति दीर्घः न भवति?
But the slide says Supicha iti dirgha prapte. So it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's not so obviously not given the answer there. But I think, you can deduce it from something on the slide.
It must be a Purvatra Siddham issue, right?
Exactly. Nalopaspatipadikantasi Tripadyam asti. Supicha iti tu Saparasaptadhyayi. Saptamadhyaye asti. So Nalopa is asiddha. Purvatra siddham is Nalopaha siddha. Supicha will not know that Nakara has been deleted. According to Supicha, it is Rajan Bhyam. Aha Supicha is Pravritti But in case of Nalopa, Purvatra siddha is a bit complicated. Atra Rajan Bhyam is Atra Nalopasya siddhatva dirghaha na bhavati. तस्य समासः स्यात् राज्ञः आदेशः the order of the king राज्ञः आदेशः इति षष्ठी राजन् नस् आदेशः सूत्रस्य प्रत्ययस्य लोपे you have राजन् आदेशः नलोपप्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इति नकारस्य लोपः you have राज आदेशः सवर्णदीर्घसन्धिः कर्तव्यः क्रियते राजादेशः इति रूपम् even though सवर्णदीर्घसन्धिः is in सपादसप्ताध्यायी and Nalopa should actually be asiddha. Nalopasya asiddhatve savarnadीर्घ sandhi na sya. Into kriyate rajadeshah iti rupam bhavati. So there are certain cases where Nalopa is asiddha and there are certain cases where Nalopa is not asiddha. Atayeva agrimam sutram asti. Kutra Nalopaha asiddhaha iti prashnaha. Nalopaha svara samya vidhishu kvati. Iti sutram. Paratrayam vidyate Nalopaha svara samya siddhishu kvati. See, the sutra immediately follows Purvatra Siddham. Purvatra Siddham ityatah asiddham iti anuvartate. Generally he said Purvatra asiddham, Nalopaha eshu vishayeshu asiddhaha. Nalopa is asiddha only in the following cases. Nalopasya sutrani sarvani tripadyam eva santi. Kintu sarvatra tesham sapala saptadhyayam asiddhatvam nasti. Even though the sutras of Nalopa lie in Tripadi, it is not universally asiddha to sapara saptadhyayi. It is asiddha only to a particular set of karya. Keshanchana karyanam vishaye nalopaha asiddhaha, keshanchana karyanam vishaye na asiddhaha. तुग्विधौ स्वरविधौ संज्ञाविधौ कृतितुग्विधौ च न लोपः असिद्धः एषु विषयेषु न लोपः असिद्धः तुग्विधौ तुप्रत्ययं निमित्तीकृत्य कश्चन गतिः क्रियते चेत् न लोपः असिद्धः स्वरविधौ स्वरः स्वरविधेः अस्ति उदात्तानुदात्तस्वरितानां विधानं भवति तेषु विषयेषु न लोपः असिद्धः संज्ञाविधौ संज्ञासूत्राणि सन्ति चेत् संज्ञा क्वचित् भवति तत्र असिद्धः कृतितुग्विधौ कृत्प्रत्यये सत्वस्य तिथि कृतितुक् इत्यादिना तुक् तुगागमः विधीयते तस्मिन् विषये न लोपः असिद्धः In these four cases nalopa is asiddha. For anything else nalopa is siddha. Nanyatra ragashvaha ityado. We are saying when you have a samasa rajan ashva ityasti nakarasya lope raja ashva atra nalopaha na asiddha because savarnadikha sandhi does not fall into these categories. It is not a subvidhi, it is not swara, it is not samya, it is not kriti subvidhi. Therefore, savarnadikha sandhi bhavati nalopaha na asiddha. Nalopa is not asiddha for such cases. Ragashvaha ityado nalopasya asiddhatvam nasti. Kintu udaharanam asti ragyah ashvah iti षष्ठी तत्पुरुषः राजन् नस् अश्व इत्यस्ति उपधातु प्रातिपदिकयोः इत्यनेन प्रत्ययस्य लोपः राजन् अश्व नलोपः प्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इत्यनेन अकारस्य लोपे राज अश्व अत्र नलोपस्य असिद्धत्वे सवर्णदीर्घः न स्यात्. If nalopa were asiddha, we could not do savarnadikha, but savarnadikha is desired. Therefore, we say nalopa is not asiddha in this case. Because savarnadikha sandhi does not fall into these categories. It is not subvidhi, swaravidhi, samyavidhi or kriti subvidhi. But our current thing, next line, Raja Bhyam, Supicha. Sutra itself has Supi. It is a subvidhi. It depends on a supratyaya. Supicha iti dirghah subvidhihi. Subvidhau nalopah asiddhah. अर्थात् सुपिचा इति सूत्रस्य दृष्ट्या नकारः अस्ति तेन दीर्घः न भवति राजभ्याम् एव रूपम् निश्चितैः उक्तम् इति असिद्धत्वात् आस्त्वं सुपिचा इत्यनेन आस्त्वं नाम दीर्घः न भवति एत्वम् ऐस्त्वं च न एत्वम् ऐस्त्वं कुत्र भिस् प्रत्ययः राजन् भिस् इत्यस्ति राज भिस् राम भिस् इति स्थिते किं भवति अतो भिस् ऐस् इत्यनेन ऐसादेशे रामैः इति भवति अत्र तु ऐस्त्वं न भवति किमर्थम् अतोऽभित ऐस् इत्यपि सुब्विधिः सुब्विधौ नलोपस्य सिद्धत्वात् ऐस्त्वं न भवति एवमेव भ्यस् राजभ्यः रामेभ्यः इत्यत्र तु बहुवचने झल्येत् इत्यनेन एत्वं भवति राजभ्यस् इत्यत्र तु सुब्विधित्वात् नलोपस्य सिद्धत्वे एत्वं न भवति इत्यसिद्धत्वात् आत्वम् एत्वम् ऐस्त्वं च न किं कानि रूपाणि राजभ्यां राजभिः राज्ञे राजभ्यां राजभ्यः राज्ञः राजभ्यां राजभ्यः राज्ञः राज्ञोः राज्ञां सर्वे प्रत्ययाः अजादयः नत् ओस् आम् नि राज्ञि राजनि नेक्स्ट स्लाइड विभाषा निश्योः अल्लोपो नः विभाषा निश्योः अकारस्य लोपः नौ परे निप्रत्ययपरे विकल्पेन अल्लोपः भवति तेन अल्लोपे कृते राज्ञी इति रूपम् अल्लोपस्य अभावे राजनि राज्ञी राजनि राज्ञोः राजसु. Go to the next slide. Maybe we should take it step by step. So the first if you have the form, I hope everybody knows. So the first is asambudhau sarvanamasthane pare upadhayah dirghah bhavati. You can see whatever is in green. Raja, rajanau, rajanah, rajanam, rajanam. Asambudhau sarvanamasthane, excepting sambuddhi. Sarvatra sarvanamasthane cha asambudhau ityanena upadha dirghah. Sambuddhau kim bhavati? Nangi sambuddhyoho iti nishedhat nalopah nasti. So there is neither upadha dirgha nor nalopa. They have he rajan. Shat prabhatishu, starting from shat, ajadishu pratyayeshu alloponah ityanena akarasya lopaha shtutvam sa bhavati. Rajyah राज्ञा राज्ञे राज्ञः राज्ञोः राज्ञाम् etc. ङौ तु विकल्पेन नी प्रत्यये परे विभाषानिश्योः इति विकल्पेन अल्लोपः तेन रूपद्वयं राज्ञी राजनि तत्प्रभृतिषु हलादिषु इत्युक्ते हलादिविभक्ति न लोपः प्रातिपदिकान्तस्य इत्यनेन मकारस्य लोपः राजभ्यां राजभिः राजभ्यः राजसु इति रूपः।
Somaji, in that slide, what is the example for the tug, kriti tug you said?
There are kriti tug vidhi is where you have kru dhatu and you have ya pratyaya. So that yat is a krit pratyaya. So there is a tugagama, it becomes kritya. Kru is a dhatu and ya is a pratyaya. There is an extra pakara added, which is called kritya. Similarly, it becomes bhritya, etc. Now, if there were nakara there, I mean, I cannot recall immediately the example where this asiddhatva would apply. But condition is that if there is a nakara and the nakara has been deleted, it will become a hakara. Akara. Right? So now, this akara will not get the sugagama. If it is a hrasva, actually there should be a sugagama. But after nalopa, if there is a hrasva remaining, it would not get a sugagama. If the case, the exact example I will have to look.
That's fine. I just want to.
The Pumlinga does not give examples here. I will look at it. So the Prakaranam gives an example. There is Vratrahan and Chatram. There is a Samasa and there is a Krityate. Vratrahan is the Pratipadika and there is a Chatra. So Nakarasya lope krite you have Vratraha Chatra. Okay. इदानीं किं भवति नलोपस्य असिद्धत्वे सति ह्रस्वः अस्ति ह्रस्वस्य सुगागमः न स्यात् सो देन् इट् विल् बि वृत्रः छत्र किन्तु कृतितुग्विधौ नलोपः न असिद्धः which means the sutra will know that nalopah is occurred, therefore there is sugagama. Here we have vrutraha chhatram. Sorry, that was an given vrutrahabhyam, we will see exactly, and it will come later. We have vrutrahan bhyam. So how do we have? Vrutrahan is derived from quick pratyaya. So vrutrahabhyam ityatra nalope krute sugagamah na bhavati iti udaharanam. We have vrutrahan bhyam. There is a quick pratyaya which was originally on vrutrahan. Based on that, after nalopa, can we do a tuk is the question. Into kriti tukvidho nalopaha siddhaha. Therefore, there is no sugagama and the form would be vrutrahabhyam. Any other questions? Let's stop here. Prakaranam Nyayam Adhigamya Shriya Pumlinga Puktan Tasmai Palinga Namaha Vaitwayan Namaskritya Tadukti Paripatya Prakaranam Siddhanta Kaumudi Yambirasya.
Swamiji, I have a question regarding the other class on the Ashtadhyayi Parijaya. You are sending me emails, and I thought I will wait until I understand the days on which the sessions can happen and the nature of the class, etc. In the meantime, we did send a web link to go to the Pathasala directly. And I did go, maybe I was mistaken, I thought I should register into the Pathasala first. So I provided the information, and then when it said that you are not registered for any class, and then I went to the particular site for the class, and it asked for the same information. I filled in the information, and it said your registration already exists. I didn't understand that. I don't think I completed the task.
Sorry, there were breaks in the king. What exactly is your question? I mean, what exactly is the problem in the registration?
Yeah, I don't think, even though I think I filled out the information, I didn't get any response, and maybe there is a disconnect there. So is there a simple way of writing an email to somebody?
I mean, you can always email to, there is an address, sanskritfromhome@isaacweb.com. There's an email address given in the contact details. So you can, but I'll look it up. Your registration, I'll see it and I'll see what's happening.
Do you know any more details that people are getting registered?